Hey, Roger Miner from Billings, Montana. This is Mark J. I say J because I screw up his last name. Top Money Earner. It's a 2-hour seminar. How do you overcome objections? It's fairly easy if you learn to have the mindset and the answers like he does.
Money. So how do I get more people to be willing? It all happens at step one. And Sarah shared that with you. And Richard shared that with you. How are they sponsoring? Between the two of them, they've sponsored 19 people and in 2 months. And Sarah's had someone sponsor 6 people in 6 weeks, 1 a week, like breaking sticks, that don't know the name of the company until they're ready to sign up, that don't know what the compensation is. Why? We close at the beginning, not at the end. That's how you create the willingness. At step 2, your prospect reviews information, and they may have some objections. This is the bad news. Most people don't know, and we learned this from both Sepp and I think Kelly. It's over in the first 5 minutes. First of all, Sepp taught us what? The right people are everywhere. And Kelly taught us what? They make the decision before the presentation. When did they make it? At step 1 in a little 5-minute dialogue. Because if they want to pay for their kids' education and that's their heart's desire, or they want to fire their boss and homeschool the kids, that's their dream. Whatever it happens to be, they're not going to object to getting that. They are going to object to ingredients in the product, pay plans that they don't understand, or anything else. So there were 3 great discoveries that I made that lined all this up, that brought us from bankrupt to beachfront, okay? 1 was the hero's journey. 2 is the discovery of the limbic system, which is in the back of your head. And 3 was the real meaning of the 80-20 rule, which, by the way, was created by an Italian boy like me. Forget about it, Vilfredo Pareto. It's simple. Let me walk you through this and tie it all together. Once you see it, objections will be history. They will be eliminated, and it's easy. So when we look at things differently, things look different to us. You need to remember that. A lot of people think it's the bars that trap the tiger inside the cage. But what if the bars were set up like that? The tiger walks right out. So try to see this differently. I know you've had a lot of conditioning. I know you've worked really hard. You've just been taught the wrong things by very well-meaning people. Have you ever wondered why people spend billions of dollars a year on sports and movies? The real appeal is the hero. When you're rooting for the hero, you're actually rooting for yourself. We become victors when we stop being victims. People go to movies and sporting events and they're living vicariously through other people. That's how desperate we all want to be heroes. Not like, I'm a hero. But this is the appeal of network marketing. The reason people join is the same reason that Sean joined, the same reason that Shep joined, the same reason that Sharon Riley joined. The hope of a different outcome that was going to affect her and the lives of the people that she cares about. And according to Maya Angelou and according to Webster, that makes her a hero. That makes Sharon a hero. Okay. So who discovered this? Well, Joseph Campbell, in his book, The Power of Myth, and been reading it and studying it, I discovered what's literally become an Aladdin's lamp in the recruiting cycle. Who is Campbell and why should you care? Well, what Campbell discovered is that every story that's ever been written in the myths are stories that survive, that cultures are based on, from the shaman 4,000 years ago. He's had a profound effect in his study on our culture, beliefs, and the way we see ourselves in the world. Okay? As a boy, he was fascinated with the Native American, and that expanded to worldwide. He's not a network marketer, lifetime study of cultures. And he began to notice that the central rituals that the cultures honored were all based on some core myths, okay, that the wise man handed down and eventually ended up in books. As a matter of fact, every book you've ever read, every movie you've ever been to, and I'm going all the way back to everyone that was read to you, The Little Train That Could, When Harry Met Sally, Gone with the Wind. Analyze this. It doesn't really matter. In every scripture in the Bible, from Noah to Jonah to Moses to Gideon, every single one has the same story underneath it, hidden underneath it. And it's called the hero's journey. He found in studying the central myths spanning over 4,000 years at the core, they all had the same identical two desires as individuals. Even, in other words, every culture, every one of these myths really told the same story, even though the antagonists and protagonists were different and the magic weapon was different. They're all really the same story. Even more mind-blowing, Campbell discovered, was there's only three ways cultures can sustain themselves, which is herding, hunting, and farming. But what blew his mind and blew my mind was all these different tribes all over the world had no contact, didn't even know the other one existed. South American people didn't even know there was an Asia, didn't even know there was a Europe. Yet all the core, at the very core story is exactly the same. And the only explanation is that underneath it all, we're all the same. And this became the beginning of my discovery. We all have a quest to connect to our fellow man in universal power. And once that quest begins, helpers, mentors, and the wise man appear, okay? Campbell actually charted it. Now think about this for your recruiting business. There's your prospect at the top. He has a life or she has a life that they know, okay? That's the life that's known. And then there's the herald. That's you. You are calling them to step into the unknown. And that can be a little bit scary. And that's where stalls and pseudo objections come from for Al, because he doesn't know the skills that Nancy knows. Let me break this hero down for you a little bit, okay? Webster wrote a hero is a person who's admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievement, or noble qualities. Maya Angelou said, a hero is anyone who tries to change the world for the benefit of the people around them, has courage, and therefore they're a hero. That's you. That's me. Think about it, okay? So what happened was the stick figure on the left, and also your prospect in the future, those lines represent rain, which is a metaphor for not enough time, not enough money. And you and I looked down the timeline in those moments of silence when we were alone and knew nothing's really going to change. And then what happened? Somebody called you up and said, hey, rather than rain, I know where the sun is out, meaning plenty of time and plenty of money. And you took a different path. You stepped into the unknown. And I know it's true about everyone on this call. How do I know that? You wouldn't be on this call unless you wanted to overcome some fears or perceived obstacles that you have. You're not here so you can tell people how much better your product is than everybody else's. You're here for the benefit of the network marketing company that you chose, financial resources that can be created to change your world. So you stepped into the unknown. That's the hero's journey. This is what your prospect story is, okay? And when you overcome those fears and obstacles, guess what? You're successful and you return to your tribe, which is classic hero's journey, like Luke Skywalker, like the Matrix. It's the same thing. And if you don't think that's so, you need to know that Lucas, who did the Star Wars initially, consulted with Campbell at every step of the way to make sure he had the hero's journey right. That's why that one survived. Think about it. It's exactly the same story. And you've been reading that story, or that story's been read to you, or you've been watching that story since you've been 4 or 5 years old or even younger. And it's familiar. And Nancy knows how to put the prospect into their own hero's journey. It takes courage to move into the unknown. Al's belief that the planned product or company is going to make a difference, and you've heard from people on this call where they told you they don't even know the name of the company, the compensation plan. when they go and they sign up anyway. Why? Why would someone step into the unknown? Why aren't those things important? Because Richard and Sarah found out what was important to them. Nancy gets it. Why did you?
This is so important, and I've missed this so often. One of the most crucial things of networking is first to find out what's important to other people, and then help them understand that this vehicle will help them get what's important to them. So, knowing what's important to others and knowing how your company, your products, your service can get them what they want. Those are so key fundamentals, it's just mind-blowing. So you got to show them how your company is going to help them get what they want. You understand that? In a very fundamental way.
You join? Did you join because of the planned part of their company, or did you join for the hope of a different outcome? And it takes courage. And it takes courage to get on this call because you're saying to yourself, it's not working and I want to do something about it. The limbic system validates this truth. Again, the subconscious mind, there's no debate on this from Freud to Jung. Subconscious mind makes the decision generally approximately 7 seconds before the conscious mind is even aware of it. So what is the limbic system? Well, it has many functions, but in essence, it evaluates the reward potential of a judgment call. So when you call them up and ask them for 2 minutes of their time, they're going to make a judgment. When you ask them to look at your business, they're going to make a judgment. When you ask them to enroll, they're going to make a judgment. And then when they join and you ask them to engage in the activities of successful network marketers, they're going to make a judgment. If you don't know how to talk to the limbic system, you're dead in the water. What Nancy knows how to do is have the prospect build the reward potential. When they build the reward potential, things like time and money get eliminated. Do you get it? They're not listening to a pitch about ingredients and people they don't know and somebody from Biloxi, Mississippi that never did this before that's making $30,000 a week. None of that stuff does anything except raise the sales filter. What raises the potential value, the reward potential in the prospect's mind is the prospect. Okay, that's what's important. So Pareto, like I said, he was the one that actually added statistics to economics, and most MLMers, actually all of them, have it backwards. In essence, 20% of your effort is going to determine 80% of your income. And we know that when you're dialing the phone, you're going to reach the person you're trying to reach about 16 to 25% of the time, but right around 20%. Now, Al accepts 80 to 90% failure. 80% of the people don't want to do this. 80% that say they're interested aren't really interested. 80% that join won't do anything. That's what he's been taught, right? That's wrong. That's not what Pareto taught. That is not the 80-20 rule. You need to learn in that 20%, you dial on the phone for 10 hours in a week, you're going to talk to people about 2 hours. You damn well better know how to do it. And how do you do it? You let the prospect do the talking. You let them do the talking. You let them explain like Richard does. You let them explain like Sarah does. You let the possibility upgrade themselves to prospect by telling you what they want more of in their life, how it would feel to have it, charged with emotion. Now all objections are eliminated. Okay, so what's this got to do with objections? If you truly see it, you'll be able to eliminate 100% of all objections at step one. The techniques I've showed you work 100% of the time. They don't work some of the time. They don't work most of the time. They work 100% of the time. You see, what you want to do is make networking familiar, not unfamiliar. People like you wear 20% of your clothes 80% of the time. You eat at 20% of the restaurants that you frequent 80% of the time. The list is endless. The bottom line is people do what's familiar. Under stress, people do what they know how to do, what they like to do, but mostly they do what they're familiar doing. Let me tie these three things up. You want to get the prospects into the hero's journey at step one, okay? They present to Nancy or to you why they should look at the business, tell you what they want more of in their life, tell you what they want to eliminate in their life, and how it would make them feel. This skill the prospect presents is coming up in the next 4 parts of this series I'm doing for you guys.
Well, do you understand how powerful that is? I never understood this. How are they going to feel if they can do these things? Great. What are they going to say they want to do? Great. And let them know that this company will help them do that.
Guys, the bottom line is it's their story. And since it's their story, they're going to believe it. Napoleon Hill wrote, a person can't have a thing until they believe they can have it. So if you got a guy at your company named Chris and he's making 50 grand a week and you're telling them about Chris, they don't believe it. If they tell you, man, if I could make another $1,500 a month, that would be awesome. My wife could stay at home and homeschool the kids, which is what we really want. How would that feel? Oh, I would feel awesome. Well, awesome's not really feeling. What is that awesome? What? Peace of mind, joy, pride? Oh, I'd be so proud. But give me peace of mind. Now he's charged that thought with a feeling and it becomes a belief. What's Al do? He's going to tell them about the planned part of company. And I hate to be repetitive, but you heard from 2 people today and the people that they're helping. Their people aren't hearing about the planned part of the company either. It's not important. What's more familiar? Their story and their hopes, or why Al thinks they should join the business. This is going to be the biggest thing ever. Our owners are so wonderful. They walk on water. They treat us like we're family. And our compensation plan, it's patented. Nobody else can have it. And it pays 17% on level 22 when it's raining and Tuesday on Belgium. Sales filter. Make it familiar. Nancy knows how to make network marketing seem familiar like they've been doing it their whole life. You can learn how to do that, how to be a great storyteller at worldslaziestnetworker.com. Let me be clear. I said there's nothing for sale. When you go to my site, there's nothing for sale. Okay? Al, he's going to use terms they don't know, ingredients they've never heard of, people they've never heard of. What's he doing? He's making it unfamiliar. Al spends his time then overcoming what? Pseudo objections. Okay? You want to eliminate the objections at step 1. Moving into the unknown is scary. Nancy knows most people are reluctant heroes. She expresses while Al tries to impress people about his planned product and company. Nancy becomes interested in their life. Al, on the other hand, he tries to be interesting. One of them is a connection, which is what all people are seeking since the beginning of time, an authentic connection to another human being. And when they tell us what we want more of and less of, we ask them a simple question. Would it be okay with you if I paraphrase back what I think you told me? Of course, we're taking notes. We paraphrase it back and we say, is that what you mean? And they say, yeah, exactly. They feel heard. Forget about the stuff that the people like John Maxwell and all these peddlers are pitching out there. Empower people by listening to them, making notes, and reading back your notes to them and saying, is that what you mean? And when they say, yeah, that's what I mean, you ask them this simple question. Would you like to do something about it now? And they're going to say yes. And you know what? The objections are gone because they pitched themselves. Al, he's telling them about our scientists can beat up everybody else's scientists. Al makes network marketing bigger, some massive revolutionary concept or discovery. And the prospect sees trials and tribulations. This is huge because we all have fear of appearing incompetent. Nancy and her team are constantly reassuring the reluctant hero. I know what Sarah's doing. I know what Richard's doing. They're on the phone with somebody else. They make three-way, including the initial call, and that way there, the prospect or the possibilities, initial perception creates a template that becomes their reality of how this business actually works. What does that mean in English? Well, they can see that they won't be working alone. When Al makes a call to action, objections are put out by the prospect to mask their fear of stepping into the unknown and feeling incompetent. When Nancy makes a call, she's not asking them to join the company. She's asking them, do you really want to pay for Jack and Jill's education? Do you really want your wife to homeschool? She's calling what? The hero in them, based on what they think will make them heroic. Al tells people what he thinks will make them heroic. One's a pitch, one's a connection. Here's the proof, okay? We surveyed over 10,000 either people that failed in network marketing but would reconsider it or people that were considering it. And this was the question. I believe the most important factor in succeeding in MLM is 1.3% said the company. Less than 1% said the pay plan. Why are people spending any time on the pay plan? And 1.3% said the product. In other words, 3.4% cumulatively believed that the planned product company had anything to do with their success. Better than 95% of the people said learning the skills to market myself and having an upline demonstrate those skills. 82%, 14% said learning the skills to market myself. So what do you think we close on? How we're going to help them build the business. See, it's 4,000 years old, folks, this hero's journey. You've been hearing it since your grandfather read to you. The compelling story is their story. People join, we all do, for the hope of a different outcome. The limbic system evaluates the reward potential of a judgment call. Learn how to get the prospect to drive up the reward potential. Not you, them. Not you, them. Where does that happen? Step one, step one, step one. We close at the beginning. Learn the skill to have the prospect present to you. Nancy gets the prospect to drive up the reward potential. And of course, they're going to believe it because that's where their self-esteem is. Whether it's this big, or this big, it doesn't matter. Talk to them where they're at. Al tries to drive up the reward potential. Nancy, with her team, then collaborates with new people, helping them become heroes in their own life. Al tells others about another idiot prospect that said they didn't have the time, or another moron that said, no, is that one of those pyramid things? And he talks about how he was a hero and won the argument while his group doesn't grow. Okay? Pareto's 80-20, make it familiar. People are more likely, 80% more likely to move forward with the familiar than something that's not new. And you'll learn in that skill how to be a great storyteller, they'll understand they've been doing network marketing since they've been 6 years old. You see, when they actually look at the business, there's only 3 questions in their mind. Can I make any money? What would I have to do? Can I do it? The only one that matters is number 2. That's the only one that matters. Why does that one matter? Because they can't decide whether or not they can do it unless they know what they have to do. You didn't join thinking you could not do it. You joined thinking that you could do it. So let's go back to the solutions. It begins with knowing the only hidden objection. That's what we're after. What's the hidden objection? Adults don't want to be criticized or fail. Folks, it's that simple. That's the only objection. If they knew that they were going to succeed, they'd sign up. Time, money, and pyramid would never enter into it. Ego prevents them from telling you that they're afraid, so they hide it behind time or money with a pseudo objection. They fib and stall about time or money. Not a person on the planet that wouldn't cough up $200 or $300, beg, borrow, or steal it if they knew they were going to make $10,000 a month. Because if 200 or 300 is a lot of money, they need it. Do you realize the insanity of someone telling you they can't join because you're offering what they said they want? It's so preposterous when you think of it. Well, I don't have the money to make money. I don't have the $200 so I can make $10,000 a month. It doesn't make any sense. And the reason it doesn't make any sense is it's a lie. Of course they have it. Or they can get it. Anybody can. Okay? It's not their fault. It's your fault. If they're telling you time or money, it's your fault. Nancy understands their fear of the unknown and is constantly reassuring her reluctant heroes. Of course they want to join, but they're reluctant. Why? They don't want to fail, be criticized, or be embarrassed. It's really that simple. So I'm going to share that with you in the 5th installment, okay? Al, well, he's going to tell them about people making $50,000 a month, and if your transmission broke in your car, you'd get it fixed. Doesn't matter. He's dead meat. He's dead meat. He's only going to embarrass them and himself. That's what he's going to do. It should never get to that point. If it does, I did it wrong. Take the objection, wrap it around their desire, and give it back to them. Willingness and ability, the lug nuts. Remember, if they're not willing, you won't be able. You got it? Hope everybody's got it. They will not say no to what they said their treasure was. Paying for the kids' education, having the mom home to homeschool, having enough money so hubby can fire his job because it sucks and they treat him lousy. Al closes on the planned product or company and the future after invalidating a life. Working 40 years for somebody else is stupid. You're going to be dead flat broke. I mean, we don't think we're saying that, but that's exactly what we're saying. Al closes on the hero, Nancy on the hero, and then by choosing to close on their core values that they shared. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. That's the Dorvach bullshit meter. It's fishy. It's not true. It's not true. How can somebody tell you they don't have the thing that you're offering and turn you down? It doesn't make any sense. It defies logic. Okay? So how do you do it? Well, when I was hustling books, Timmy Byrne taught me this. So I'm going to give you an example. Outside of network marketing, then I'll give you one inside. I don't answer objections. I let them do it and collect a decision. My good friend Timmy Byrne taught me this. Restate what they told you they thought the books would do, okay, which is XYZ, and tell them there's two types of people in the world. Those that think XYZ is worth $17 a month and those that don't. For example, say the person said, well, I think it would really help the kids with their homework and get better grades in school and get into a better college. So basically what you're saying is the $17 a month is something that's a little objectionable to you. Okay. What you told me was you thought that the books would help all three of your kids get better grades in school, get into better colleges, and have a better life. See, what I found out, Mary, is there's only two types of people in the world. Those that think a better education for their three kids, better colleges, and a better life is worth $17 a month. And the other type, they don't think their kids' education is worth $17 a month. Which of the two groups are you in? Boom. Number one, with Britannica. So you want to restate the objection, link it to their core value in the limbic system, right? The thing they told you, the thing they built reward potential. Remember, limbic system evaluates the reward potential of a judgment call. So let's say Sally has a time issue, and I'll give you a network marketing example. and Sally and Sally was Tommy's prospect, and Sally presented to you and Tommy her reason for looking. She said she wants Jack and Jill to graduate college debt-free. So it works this way. She tells me she doesn't have the time. Well, I'm sure Jack would love to get out of school debt-free. He probably doesn't know how important that is right now, but I'm sure he'd like to get out of school debt-free. And I know Jill would be thrilled to get out of school debt-free. Now, Tommy's willing to put in 6 hours a week on Jack and Jill's education. And I think it's such a great goal. I'm willing to put in 6 hours a week on Jack and Jill's education. Obviously, you'd feel tremendous giving your kids that kind of a start. And I'm sure your husband's behind that goal too. All that's standing in the way is you feeling that you can't make the time. So me, Jack, Jill, your husband, and Tommy, we're all on board and helping you find 8 hours a week. You don't think you can. What do you suggest we do about it? See, now she's not deciding about pay plans, network marketing industry, or anything else. She's deciding on something that she already built reward potential around. Now, I like this one. Look, there's only two types of people in the world. Those who think two kids walking out of school debt-free is worth finding 8 hours a week, and those who don't. Which of the two groups do you find yourself in? See, I'm a little different kind of cat. Personally, once they lie to me, the gloves are coming off. I like the second one with a closing question. So it goes like this. So it's, there's only two types of people in the world. Those who think two kids walking out of school debt-free is worth finding 8 hours a week for, and those that don't. Is it safe to assume you're in the first group? Yes. Of course she's going to say yes. Great. Let's get you started. Not on network marketing, not on company XYZ. Let's get you started on Jack and Jill's debt-free education and enroll them. Make them say no to what they said they wanted, not your business, not your pay plan, not your product, not your company. To what they wanted. At step 3, a question is not always an objection. Determine which it is before you respond. If it's a question like, so how much a month does it cost to run the business, or how much time does it take to make it work? Restate it, get a commitment, and enroll them. Never, 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 never do a dog and pony show. We're not circus performers. You have one job, to collect decision. So every time they ask what's a question, not an objection question, every time they ask that, close before you give them the answer. At step 3, you're there to collect a decision. How does it work? Don't worry. It's in 6 quick steps. Acknowledge the question by repeating it. Compliment them for asking it. Ask a closing question in a positive way. Obtain a positive answer. Answer their question and enroll them. It's really simple. If you don't do this, the questions will just keep coming. And sometimes people ask stuff just because they want to know. Sometimes it's a stall. So let's get back to Sally. Well, what's it going to cost me monthly to run the business? Remember, these are the 6 steps, right? Are you asking me what successful reps spend monthly to run their business? Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. Excellent. Here's the compliment. You're picking this up faster than most people. If I can show you that it costs them nothing, are you ready to enroll? You're ready to enroll now. Yes. There's the positive statement and positive question. Yes. Then answer their question, then enroll them. It doesn't cost anybody anything to run this business. The tax benefit alone is always greater than the auto ship. The average person is going to get between $5 and $550 a month from the federal government in the home-based business tax advantage. Auto ships are $100 or $200. Okay. What if they say yes and then hem and haw, like asking more stalling questions? Well, you just interrupted, say, you know what? You're asking some great questions. Why don't we get all your questions down so I can make a decision about, so you can make a decision about Jack and Jill's education. Does that make sense? I'm back to Jack and Jill's education, building reward potential that they brought up. getting all those questions, get all the questions, and then read them back. Say, if we can answer all these questions to your satisfaction, you're enrolling now. Yes. Okay. You are there to collect a decision. You'll lose some people there. So what? Do your job. New England Patriots, do your job. It's your job. It's the money. It's the dream. I always like to tell people, they ask me all these questions, say, you know something? I like those questions. I want you on my team. I'm going to give you hands-on support until those kids' education gets paid for. Does that make sense? Okay. That'll do it. So where does all this happen? Nancy knows the truth. It all happens at step one. The reality is everything's over in the first 5 or 6 minutes of that first conversation, step one. Their initial perception creates a template that becomes their reality of how the business works. No jargon, no complicated stuff, no pay plans. I explain the pay plan to people on the follow-up call. No circles, no diagrams, no percentages, no nothing. If anybody wants to know how, I'll show you how to do that. It's really easy. Learn the skills so that the prospect puts themselves where? In the hero's journey. There's only one person who can make the perfect presentation to your prospect. That's the prospect. When they express what they really want and how it would make them feel, they've made the perfect presentation. They'll show up for the presentation and they'll join. They're coming to join because it's going to pay for the kids' education. It's going to allow their wife to get out of that dead-end job. It's going to let them have the money to build an additional room on their house so mom and dad can move in and they can take care of them. Nancy makes MLM familiar. They understand what they would be doing. Poor Al, he's as dumb as a brick. He asks sales filtering questions, raising questions like, do you have 8 to 10 hours a week? Are you coachable? Those are all red flag questions. It's all unfamiliar, and they all set up the pseudo objection. When you say to someone, can you commit to 10 hours a week? They don't know what they'd be doing, so how could they commit to it? So they'll say, yeah, because they want to show that they're a stand-up gal, but they're going to stall at the end because they wouldn't know what they'd be doing. Nancy, on the other hand, she knows the skill. She shows them exactly what they'd be doing on the call. So Nancy knows a simple skill set. The prospect presents their values. The prospect shares how getting it would make them feel. The prospect does 100% of the work. The 3-part video series is coming on the 16th, I should say. It runs over a week, but you can get it on the 14th. Again, if you enrolled for this webcast through that site and got your worksheet, you don't have to do this. Or you can go to go90grow.com, hop on the early notification list. And so it's a 3-part video series, and we'll follow up with a live Q&A. So I'll open this up. If you want to know how to present the business in less than 2 minutes, so everybody understands how they get paid, great. Just let me know. I send people a video. I never send them anything about the business. Just a little tiny video about the product. That's it. So we've talked back and forth. So I'm going to say, and let's say that you were Tommy's prospect. Okay. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to so we're talk back and forth. I'm going to say, well, we're talking about making, and you've told me, you know, what you would need economically is around 15, 16 grand a month. And say, well, I'm glad that that's the number for you because that's definitely doable here. Are you familiar with the time leverage business?
Well, I'll say no because I'll play along. Yeah. No, I have no idea, Mark. No.
Yeah. So time leverage, this is how it actually works. It's a little new math and a little old math. You okay with simple math?
Yeah, I taught math for 21 years.
Okay, then you'll get this. Okay. So the first week or so of the business, you're going to put in about 10 hours. Okay. So the first, I'm going to give you 4 equations. And I first saw this on September 17th of 1993. My eyes welled up with tears, and I knew I would be wealthy. Okay.
Wow.
In all areas of life, that I would have the time. So I'm really, if I get a little emotional, just roll with me here. So you're going to put in 10 hours a week, and you're going to get paid for 10 hours. Pretty much like what goes on in the world today. Now, within about 2 months, myself and Tommy are going to work with you, and we'll build you a team of 10 people. And those 10 people putting in 10 hours each a week. Now, this is new math. So 10 times 10 equals new number, 110. You'd be getting paid for 110 hours a week. How many hours would you still be working?
10.
10. And when I saw that, that got my attention. Now, usually with the system we've developed, a person within 4 to 8 months, but average 6, is going to build a group of about 100 people. 100 people putting in 10 hours each is 1,010 hours you're getting paid for. And how many hours are you putting in?
10.
And that's when my eyes welled up with tears. Now, this simple model is predicated on the people that we're partnering with, like you, simply DTST. Do the same thing. Do the same thing. And if they do the same thing, bring in 1 partner a month, okay, to this big partnership team, you would have a little over 4,000 people at the end of the year. But let's say we failed 75% of the time. And you had 1,000 people working 10 hours a week. At the end of a year, rather than 4,000, you would be getting paid for 10,010 hours a week. And how many would you be working?
10.
10. That's the time leverage business. Do you think if you were getting paid on 10,000 hours a week, that it would be pretty easy, even at 50 cents an hour, to make 15, 20 grand a month?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, because most people have this question. Man, that sounds really great, but how do you actually do it? Right? Is that sort of what's running through your mind?
Yeah, like what am I doing? What are we doing here? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. What's Tommy done so far on this call?
Not much.
He's
Talk
just
to-
listening. He's listening. He introduced me, right? So what's he done after he introduced me?
Be quiet.
Is that something that you think you'd be able to do?
And it's hard for me, but I could probably master it. Yeah.
Would it be okay with you if Tommy and I did for you what I'm doing for Tommy tonight to help you build partners?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, there's only 2 possibilities. One possibility is you join our team and you turn Tommy, myself, and Sarah, who you'll also meet and has mastered this system, you turn us into failures. The other possibility is you join our team and we turn you into a hopeless success. Which of those 2 things do you believe would actually happen?
The second one, success.
The second one. Well, landing in Kauai is one of the first of many 2 to 3 month trips that you'll take with your beautiful wife, Faye. Is going to be awesome, give you peace of mind and make you happy. Yes?
Sounds good, Mark. Yeah.
Okay. The next step is just to get you enrolled. So Tommy's going to stay on the line with you and enroll you.
Sounds great.
That's it. That makes, you get it?
Yeah.
Now that including the close was 4 minutes.
Right.
So that's it right there. That's how I explain the marketing plan right there.
Huh.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now the
Incredible.
hook is telling them that they'll have 4,000, but say, hey, let's say we fail 75%.
Hey, it's late. I'm going to bed. I'll review this in the morning and come back to this site. Good night.